than normal on my live streams. I usually go live about an hour from now, but it's my Friday morning and I have a really, really busy day with clients. I have a busy day with my training and I have 2 live streams to do, 2 more videos to upload. So I have to start my day a bit earlier. Fortunate for me, I always get up the same time every day, 4:45 a.m., 5 a.m. I've been doing that since about 2013. So I'm ready to rock and roll. Read the tag. You can see it's basically focusing on my last upload. We can talk about that fight, the Christian Mbili fight. He's fighting Sleeki, 168-pound fight. We could talk about the UFC. We could talk about the Floyd Scoffield Farmer fight. Whatever you want to talk about, give me a couple minutes, and I'll get to the title real quick. My most recent upload is the Sleeki, the Polish fighter, taking on Christian Mabilly, the undefeated, born in Cameroon, calls Canada home. The fight's in Quebec City, Canada. And you got with Mabilly, he's undefeated, has a lot of knockouts. Sleeki has a handful of losses on his resume. When I'm breaking that fight down, when you look at the odds, guys, Sleeki is a big underdog on paper. So one of the things that I never do based out of ethics, and I take this really serious, just like you guys take this serious in terms of using reason, film study, in relation to who we think are going to win the fight. And then we take our hard-earned money and then we invest that into making money off of these fights. So it's with that in mind, when you look at the resumes, and I was kind of like, the odds right now, I think Sleeki, they haven't been moving that much. But before I continue that thought, the Christian Mabilly fight on the money line, we're just talking about the money line. He's $1.04, meaning $100 gets you your money back plus $4. Sleeki, right now he's 13-1. I reference that. Suleki's mixed it up with Danny Jacobs, right? Danny Jacobs beat him a little while ago. He lost to Bubu Andrade a little while ago. And then more recently, Diego Pacheco stopped him in the 6th round via a body shot. But that wasn't his last fight. When you look at these odds, one would think that Suleki's last fight was the Pacheco fight. But no. He gets off of the canvas, metaphorically and literally, goes overseas. I think the fight was in Dagestan, and gets a huge win in a fight that a lot of people thought he was going to lose. So that then propelled him into, take this however you want it. I don't know how you guys feel about interim title fights. I mean, there's so many belts. Who am I to criticize, right? But it's an interim title fight at 168 pounds for the WBC interim belt. Now, that being said, when you look at Mabilly's resume, not a lot on there. I mean, and I always say this, you could only fight who they put in front of you. Not a lot of guys are putting their hand up to fight Christian Mabilly. You know, you're in a fight with him, you know you're in a fight. It's an aggressive style. He's compact. They call him solid. He's always looking for the stoppage. So all in all, you can check my breakdown analysis in detail on the channel. That's under my playlist section. Those are the uninterrupted, edited breakdown analysis prediction videos. And here we go. And 5 minutes in, everyone's doing their check-ins. TJ's dropping wise knowledge. I did not know that about Sleeki. I knew that he was a middleweight. I didn't know about the fight against Rowdy that's not on BoxRec. How long ago was that fight, TJ? Now, in my prediction, I'm taking Mabilly. I don't know if I've ever leaned on a 13-1 underdog and told you guys about it. We could all do things behind the scenes and might sprinkle something on a 15-1 dog. And, you know, if it comes through, we're the smartest guys in the world. But with reason, unless you're in some guy's camp or it's your brother, I haven't met many people who've hit on a 14-1 dog. Oh, Derevyanchenko is ridiculously good. Seconds away from beating Mookie. Oh, my bad. I apologize about that. Sergey Derevyanchenko is his best. What I mean by that, though, is when you're weighing, would you say Christian Mabilly has 3 names that compare to, and I'm not doing compare and contrasting. I'm just saying I was using the losses On yeah, I agree. What I was doing on Suleki's side was using his losses kind of to debate the odds. I wasn't necessarily using his losses, the guys on the resume, the guys we spoke about, to say because he fought those guys, he's going to beat Mabilly. That's not what I was trying to say. And you're right. There are some guys on, and I wasn't disparaging Mabilly's resume all in all. Fight right before Pacheco, Tom Dallas for match rematch. Just saw the fight and picked him up, Diego Pacheco, specifically because of that fight. So yeah, I'm taking. Obviously, I'm rolling with Christian Mbili. I actually like. There's a couple prop bets on that. I don't know what your book's showing you. I would. If you guys like if you don't want to just put him on the money line, there's a knockdown prop bet I'm interested in. There's an over and under. You guys. So TJ Gold member, are you putting Mabilly? How are you wagering on Mabilly then? Are you guys going to stay away from it because in terms of the money line, there's not a lot of juice to squeeze at $1.04 to even put on at least for me. Moving forward, I'm kind of avoiding the $4s, $5s all across the board and putting them on parlays just because what we've seen over the last few weeks. But there are a couple prop bets. I've talked to some guys. If you could find a knockdown prop bet, I could see somebody getting dropped. If you could see an over and under, like you said, the fight getting stopped. I feel Mabilly's going to put on a great performance. The interesting thing is, too, with Sleeki, he's the taller guy. He's listed as a couple inches taller, but Mabilly has the longer reach, and that's it. I think that's going to help his style. Gold member, don't bet. Oh, appreciate. Nice, man. So, gold member, if you don't bet, how do you see the fight going? Yeah, I don't think he's lasting 12 rounds. I think the fight isn't going to go the distance, and that's something that I'm comfortable with as well. I'm pulling up the odds right now, at least on my book, some of the props. The fight not to go the distance, it's $1.19. Now, I like that bet because if we're talking about building a parlay and adding money line fights just to pick outcomes, you'll find yourself putting $10s, $12s, $8s, $9s on a parlay to kind of build it. You could take this fight if you're comfortable with the fight getting stopped. $1.19, I think, adds a little bit of value. KO body shot at 6 volume. Yeah, Mabilly's volume, I think his reach advantage, his style, the pressure, all in all, the energy of that crowd, that has to play into it as well. So I'm definitely going to do a sneaky prop on the Mabilly, and if it lets me parlay Mabilly fight not to go the distance and plus over 0.5 knockdowns. So right now, the fight not to go the distance is $1.19. Knockdown markets. Sleeki to be dropped is $1.19. Ricardo Brown fight. I'm glad you brought that. We'll get to the Ricardo Brown fight in a second. Let's kind of let this heat up real quick. Galal BS Rodriguez. Oh, don't bring that up again. TJ. The decisions, Galal lucky. Oh, here we go. That still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Francisco Rodriguez totally dog walked him, dude. 5th round or 7th round, but it'll be close. 6 where Pacheco KO'd him. Yep. To be knockdown markets. Yeah, if you think Seleki's going to get knocked down, it's $1.19. So you can do a nice little cheeky two-legger. The fight not to go the distance and Sleeki to get dropped. Put those two, $1.19 and $1.17. If your book lets you do it, I like that. I think it's a great fight to look at those knockdown props or over-unders. And I know I've been getting a lot of questions because there's a lot of fights coming up starting tomorrow with decent odds. But some of these fights that you guys have been asking me about are far from world level sort of matchups. So that's where we have to be weary, depending on if you're just doing like a $25 parlay or a $50 parlay. I've taped every fight this week. There's 5 cars on 3. I know. I didn't even, TJ, I got to be honest with you. I didn't even know Triller was still alive. I didn't know Triller was still doing things. Francisco, people been talking about it. We brought it up on the live stream yesterday, guys. If you're unaware, there's rumors floating around that Francisco Rodriguez is gonna pop. Toxic, oiled up. You nasty. Yeah, we'll see about the Francisco Rodriguez rumors. I always side on the air of caution. I mean, he did look amazing. I didn't start that rumor. I've seen it on other boxing content creator shows. I've seen it in comment sections on blogs. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully not. Hopefully he went in there and we just saw a 32-year-old who just looked amazing. Hopefully he just had an amazing camp and he doesn't pop. I hate when that happens because as gamblers, it was something I was thinking about. Could you imagine if you had this heavy parlay or a lot of money and you pick Galalia Phi and you lose, and then you find out 3 months later Francisco Rodriguez popped dirty and the fight gets scrapped, but you still lose your money? Isn't that insane? Yeah, and the punches landed record, TJ, and how he looked. I mean, even how he looked great all in all of and as a strength and conditioning coach, I'm always going to side with the athlete's preparation. He's a professional. The guy's world class. He's been doing it for a while. I'm going to side with that. What's up, King Ty? Everyone's checking in. I said people would stop trying to discourage Bud to take the other, or else he'll put out. Gold member. That's hilarious. Home versus Vega. You think Chavez Jr. going to throw the fight? Yeah, I'm not betting on the Chavez Jr. fight. People cashed on a no contest. That's what I mean. So we're betting PJ. Rodriguez looked way too quick. PJ, we talked a little bit about the Christian Mabilly matchup, and we're talking about Francisco Rodriguez. The rumors floating around that he was on something for that fight, and people were waiting for the tests to come back. Yeah, I'm not betting on the Jake Paul fight. I can't. I don't bet on Jake Paul. I heard he was another on the way. He has another kid on the way? Jesus, going on 8, the big fella. Yeah, it's tough for me to look too far ahead in the future. I mean, we're obviously going to be talking about Canelo and Crawford until they fight, but we got a lot of fights this weekend. And to answer your question, we are talking about the fights. There's a lot of cards. There's the UFC. Makhmedov might get stopped. Maybe. Somebody asked about Ricardo Brown. There's a lot of these fringe fights because the odds are kind of saucy. I like Joshua Van. So Israel Torres is asking a UFC question. I already posted my parlay. Joshua Van on short notice is fighting Brandon Royval, Raw Dog. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, I would have said Raw Dog. I mean, Joshua Van, in my opinion, has the best boxing, at least in the division, some of the best boxing in all of UFC. He's coming off only a couple weeks ago a great fight in which he stopped a really tough fighter in either the second or third round, put his hand up to fight Royval. I think Royval is going to fight the fight Van. I think Royval is going to give Van the fight he wants, and Van has good enough takedown defense to avoid those scrambles. I think Royval's at his best when there's a lot of scrambles against wrestlers and grapplers. When they engage the wrestling with Royval, Van's not going to do that. Van's going to stay on his feet. I'm high on Joshua Van. 9 kids. Go remember. Someone said he'll have 9 kids. So yeah, we got a couple side quest conversations going on. Hopefully, I answered your question with Josh Van. Canelo and Crawford. This is going to be a narrative up until the fight night. Ricardo Brown, Avius Griffin. I like Avius Griffin, King Ty. Now you're talking. Avius Griffin is a guy who fights out of Bomax camp, the same camp Terrence Crawford fights at, the same camp Lester Martinez fights at. He's really good, undefeated, just got a late contract with MVP Promotions to be on this card. It's a feature fight. I think he's $1.17. I'm comfortable with that matchup. Stephen Butler, are you guys looking at these odds? Stephen Butler versus Macias? I'm going to engage this question for you guys. Before we get there, we're 15 minutes in. I'm going to be live for another 45 minutes. Then I have some coaching to do. And then we're going live my 11 a.m. with Muscles Brown. So Muscle Brown is coming on my live stream later on this morning to talk about his knockdown prop bets. He's been on fire lately, and we're going to do a live stream later. That's already pinned on my channel. So if you guys haven't hit the bell notification button, do that. And so you get notified every time I put a video out, specifically the lives. So talking about Stephen Butler versus Macias, it's such an odd fight. A lot of people messaged me about this fight, so I had to do my due diligence. I didn't upload a video, but I researched it. And Stephen Butler, they fought before. They fought a couple years ago, and Butler got starched, knocked out, one punch, left hook. The thing is, Stephen Butler is one of these action-packed fighters from Canada. The Canadians love him. He has a lot of knockouts, but all 5 of his losses, he gets knocked out. I'm talking stopped. So Butler's the favorite at $1.36 with Macias, who knocked out Butler in their first fight. He's a $3.45 dog, a little bit over a 2-to-1 underdog. His results have been mixed. This isn't a fight that I would go heavy on. If you want to add it to your parlay, I think the best bet on this fight is for it to not go the distance. Yeah, Butler has that. I would not feel comfortable or excited betting on this fight regardless, based on what we know what's going to happen. It's going to be a stoppage. So I'm seeing right now, if they're going to let me, if they don't let me take the stoppage, I'm not going to bet on it. But here we go. Gotta love sports bet. All right, will the fight go the distance? $1.80. I think that, on some, I think I just found my sort of unicorn for the weekend. Will the fight go the distance? $1.80. Mate, the last 2 weeks, over the last 3 weeks, the most money I've made in terms of putting thousands on a bet. One was 2 nights ago. So I had Joshua Kelly by stoppage at $1.80. I went heavy on that. And I had Liam Perro by stoppage at $1.89. And this fight is $1.80 to not go the distance? Yo, that's value. I think that, I didn't know that until right now. I only seen the money line. And last night when I went to bed, my app was only letting me do the money line. I really like that a lot. I think that just became my favorite prop bet for the weekend. I talked all that trash about the Stephen Butler Macias fight, not betting it, and then I'm seeing these props. I don't see this fight going the distance. This is a fight in Quebec City, Canada. I could reason with this one. Butler's a Canadian. This is a rematch. Butler's 5 losses. He got knocked out 5 times, but he's a knockout artist. Will the fight go the distance? No. What do you guys feel about this? Garcia only did good against Haney because they fought 6 times. We can move forward on that if I'll turn it over to the next question. But if you guys are out there trying to find, oh, that's it. That's Keyshawn's statement. I'm glad I didn't read it in full, but I'm glad that I kind of got that. Tipkin, Israel Tours. Any thoughts on Boudouin? Yeah, the Boudouin fight's even money right now, Israel. We got about 2 days until that fight, so give me another day to really give you an answer on it, because I'm not going to give you a yes or no based on the odds. Tipkin's in the house. Wherever you're tuning in, guys, can you like this video? Gold member, everyone. That's such a gold member. Just posted Keyshawn Davis's response to the drama what happened in Norfolk. It sounds to me that if he did write it, good on him. If he didn't, good on him. I can see Butler winning on point. Really? You can see Butler winning on points. When's the last time? Yeah. I don't, actually. I don't see Butler winning on the cards, especially not in Canada, not in a rematch. I think that fight's getting stopped 100%. I'll arm wrestle you for it. But yeah, I'll get back to you on the Boudouin fight. Sleeki for the upset. There you go, Tipkin. 13-to-1 underdog. How do you see it happening? So you think Sleeki is either going to stop Mabilly or go the distance? Yeah, Butler's going to knock him out. Yeah, I think it's what I don't see this fight going to the distance. All right, moving forward. I'll get back to you guys on the Boudouin fight. I think the fight's going to get stopped for sure. Another interesting fight, Makhmudov, Ricardo Brown. Guys, if Ricardo Brown 12-0, 35 years old. So yeah, here we go. Israel Torres. Ricardo Brown, 35 years old, 12-0, 11 knockouts, 6'7" heavyweight. You know, he's coming off a decision win over Kolarek. When you look at his resume, not a lot of big names jump off. The odds right now are interesting on this fight. I think there's good value. And I was looking at this fight last night. It's another one of these fights where I didn't have time. I'm not going to have time to upload a video breakdown of Ricardo Brown versus Makhmudov. But when you look at these odds, Makhmudov is $1.33. $100 gets you your money plus 33. And then Ricardo Brown's almost a 3-1 dog. Yeah, Brown could crack. And when you look at his opponent, you know, Brown's finished all but one of his opponents. Makhmudov's 19-2, but he has 18 knockouts. So this might be another one. And they're big guys, 6'5", 6'7". They got that one-touch knockout power. The thing is, Guido Vanello. Guido Vanello is a guy we featured on the channel. We last saw Guido fight Kiki Torres. Kiki Martinez, I think he plays for the Dodgers. We last seen Guido fight Kiki Torres, and Kiki Torres beat him. But Guido Vanello is a big guy, you know, has an amateur pedigree, knows how to operate in the ring. He stopped this guy. So what I'm thinking of, rather than kind of getting baited by these odds, $1.33, $3.60, this might be another one of those fights where, you know, these are fringe guys, dude. I wouldn't put too much emphasis or too much money on this, but I like, if they're going to give me will the fight go the distance, this is another one. I might just throw on a parlay and, you know, pick the fight to get stopped. Considering both guys, all of their wins, each guy, only one of their wins went the distance. This is how they operate. This is what they do. So yeah, if you could get will this fight go the distance, I would say no. I'm looking for the odds or knockdown props on this. A 6'7", 6'5" heavyweight. You're not gonna see much in terms of, you know, future world champions in this fight. Yeah, Guido's a smooth operator. I like watching him box. And it was close to a 50-50 fight. Some people were saying that was too much too soon for Kiki Torres. But we broke that fight down. I won money on that fight. I took Torres to win that by decision. Okay, here we go. Makhmudov versus Ricardo Brown. Will the fight go the distance? It's only $1.24, but that's another you could add on a parlay. It's a 10-rounder, so you have to keep that in mind. Do I think we'll get to those Toxics asking about some 54s. So that's my answer on the Ricardo Brown fight. I mean, it's a 10-rounder. Will the fight go the distance? $1.24. How about the over/under 4.5? A lot. Yeah, for some reason my book never gives me these over and unders. Will the fight go over or under 4.5? It's a riskier bet, but it's called betting for a reason. If I had to sit here and actually, will it go? I would say it goes over 4.5. Only based on the volume perspective in terms of feeling it. They're probably going to give round 1 away. I'm not sold. I don't love that bet. Yeah, Zayas is fighting Chino Garcia. So that's another one of those fights. So if you're building, I would go Ricardo Brown fight not to go the distance. I would go Stephen Butler fight not to go the distance. That's 2. Christopher Guerrero on the money line. Guerrero's going to win this fight. He's $1.04. Guys, like I said, moving forward on my long parlays, my bad. Oh, Chino Garcia Perez, right? He's the guy with like a hyphenated last name. Chino's the dude who just beat Charles Conwell. He beats Conwell. He gets the fight against Xander Zayas. Great fight. I think Chino's going to give him. I think Chino's going to give him problems. Yeah, I'm staying away from the Guerrero fight. $1.04, and I'm not getting prop bets for stoppage. He should. Fighting Sandy Masood. Do your books, no matter how far the odds are, allow you to by stoppage? Will the fight go the distance? So you think Guerrero will stop him? Because if you do, Will the fight go the distance? $1.52. Or if, for the fight to get stopped, it's $2.45. If you think Guerrero's going to stop him, man, there's good value. Okay, there you go. Sandy's a huge dog. That we're talking about it right now. All right, guys, wherever you're tuning in, we're almost 30 minutes into this. Could you like this video? If you haven't already, could you subscribe to the channel? We're talking about the Chris Guerrero versus Sandy Massoud fight. He's a huge underdog. He's a 13-1 dog. So, and Guerrero's $1.04. Big underdogs like this, however you dissect it, it's going to be risky. But people like, people like what they see with Sandy in terms of, what he looked like in his last fight. They think these odds are unwarranted. If you think he's good, if you think Sandy can handle Guerrero and don't want to risk the 13-1, or you think that he's going to lose but not get stopped, that's $2.45 for just the fight to go the distance or the fight to get stopped. So if you think it's going to the decision, $1.52, a lot of value. I put a lot of money on $1.52s. I really haven't sat with this fight too much though. This one seems to be like some of you guys who know about these two a little bit more than me. It's probably a fight I'm not going to bet on. Sandy could win. Okay, that's interesting. Sandy Massoud could win. Yeah, Zurdo's fighting. Deontay Wilder's fighting. There's a lot of interesting fights. I think there's a lot of close fights on paper in Canada on the Christian Mbili fight card. But I think those fights, those crowds up there in Canada, this is dating back to the MMA days, they want blood. Gilberto versus Dorticos. I mean, on paper, Zurdo should win that fight. You guys know that. Dorticos, is he in his 40s? I keep seeing mixed emotions. A lot of you guys, 47-1, 30 knockouts. His last loss, he got UD'd against Bivol. It's a 12-rounder. Keep that in mind. Zorticos, 2 losses. 6'3" Cuban. Knockout. Maris Breedis. Yeah, there's no real age. I know. I've heard 42. I've heard 36. There's no real age. The birth certificates. Funny story in the 90s, growing up in Northeast Ohio, you're born where I'm born. You're just automatically Cleveland sports fans. So the Cleveland Indians in the 90s were some of the best teams. And in my opinion, one of the greatest rosters to never win a World Series. And we had a lot of players from the Dominican, from Puerto Rico, and we had a closer named Jose Mesa. And Jose Mesa, during the regular season, he would do really good. And then during the playoffs, he would just shit the bed. And his name translated Joe Table. And the announcers, my dad, everybody would say Joe Table was like 58 years old. But his baseball card said he was 28. And this guy, so anyway, yeah. It's tough when you come from countries, birth certificates really aren't a thing. Luis Ortiz might be 58 years old. Mudov, I'm pretty sure he's going to get him out of there. Yeah, Mac, I could see, you think he's going to get him out of there. So it just depends on how risky you guys want to go with these outcomes. If you want to add them to parlays, if you're really sure that a guy's going to win, but how sure can we really be? Not many people were seeing we see upsets a lot. So with that in mind, it's all about pulling the trigger on if you want to watch the fight from a neutral perspective and just cheer for the stoppage, or watch a fight from a neutral perspective and cheer for the distance. That's always a good option as well. And you could kind of remove the element of upset. Because I have a buddy who won a lot of money on the Caleb Plant versus Resendez, the fight to go the distance. And so he watched the fight from neutral eyes. And even though, it was a big upset by Resendez, because it went the distance, it was great money. They had that, as a kid, I remember the Little League World Series, they had 16-year-old Dominicans. Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, so you always hear stories like that. We don't know how old these people... Luis Ortiz might be 58, though. I'm going to put 100 straight bet, 1 or 2, 50 on 1 or 2, 50 on 3 or 4. So you're picking you're picking for the fights to stop in those ranges. If I have a big bet, I don't watch the fight. I go to sleep. We all have our systems, don't we? Thoughts on Zurdo decision? Let's look at the odds first, guys. I'm not excited about that fight. I mean, his opponent, Dorticos, has been stomped once. He could be a bit of a punching bag. The money line is $1.09. So for the fight to go the distance, Zordicos versus Zurdo, it's $2.15. It's up to you. I'm staying away from that. I'm being much more, I'm not going to say I'm being cautious this week, but I'm being much more sort of particular in how many fights I bet on, because sometimes as our eyes can get too big when we see all these fight options and we just throw. Lately where I've lost one on a parlay, it's kind of been one of these fights where, I'll take that one, I'll take that one, I'll take that one. This week, I've already hit in Australia. I hit a parlay in Australia, and I hit a method of victory bet with Liam Perro in Australia. So I'm up. I started the week really well. So right now with my picks, I gave you guys my UFC parlay picks. That's up in the group. And I'm not going to pick as many fights as I always do on my own parlay. I'm taking, I think, 3 or 4 fights. 2 of them are money lines, 2 are outcome fights, and I'm going heavy on that. So there's a lot of these fights where I see a lot of fringe domestic matchups where anything could really happen. It's really tough to dissect when you're looking Ricardo Brown fight or the Bitters fight in the UK. So I'm adjusting my methodology in terms of volume for my own betting systems this weekend, and I'll keep you guys posted on how that turns out for me. Because when we have all of these options, when I said Group XL, I mean on the community post section. So go to on my main page, you'll find videos, shorts, live streams, playlists, posts right there where I post pictures, I post fight polls, questions, stuff like that. So in the past, I'd be, all right, $1.83, $1.36, boom, $1.04. Now I'm like, no, I'm going to take this fight. I'm going to take this fight. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to take this fight, that sort of thing. I like Avius Griffin. Avius Griffin doesn't get talked about a lot. I think they're decent value. I'm not betting on Holly Holm. Dwayne Styles, appreciate you. Appreciate the support. Guys, wherever you're tuning in, like this video. Yeah, I'm not betting on. It's not that Zurdo has progressed. Zurdo has a lot of fights, a lot of experience. He has that decision loss. Look, with everything about how his fans feel about him, come on, guys. Zurdo should stop Dorticos, right? Yeah, it's an easy fight, PJ, but I'm not betting on her. That aside, it's like Jake Paul's an easy fight. I'm not betting on Jake Paul. I'm a former UFC. She was a boxer, went to the UFC. Now she's another boxer. Did Avius Griffin just get out of jail? I don't know. I know he trains with Bomac. I like Bomac. I win a lot of money betting on his fighters, even though I bet against him when Steven Nelson fought Pacheco. But I think I took that fight to go the distance. And Steven Nelson was turning it on later in that fight, actually. But yeah, on paper, Zurdo should stop Dorticos. Do we agree with that? And then the John Pascal fight. Michael Cieslak, John Pascal fight. I'm not betting on that. Those fights are insane to me. Yeah, Holly's my age. We're 43. Holly Holm is in the Hall of Fame in boxing. Do you guys know that? Fact check me on this. Most people don't understand. Holly Holm has already had a boxing Hall of Fame career. I'm pretty sure Holly Holm is in the boxing Hall of Fame. Maybe if it's just, check me on that. This is before she fought in the UFC. She had a long boxing career. She had an amateur career, and one of the worst knockouts you will ever see. One of the worst knockouts you'll ever see was Holly Holm in boxing when the referee almost just let her die on the ropes. It's one of the, and this was before her UFC career. It's brutal to watch. Do you think the Jack Hermansson fight goes over 2.5 rounds? Now, so what I'm talking about with, I actually have Jack Hermansson on my parlay. I like Jack Hermansson to beat RoboCop. So I think it's only a 3-round fight. You know, you could break this fight down. RoboCop, you know, he's fast starter. He gets on the front foot. He wants to end things quickly. We've seen RoboCop get stopped before. I just think Jack Hermansson, maybe it's because he comes from that part of the world. I think he's Norwegian, somewhere in Norway. I like Jack. I've always been a fan of Hermansson. I like his grappling. I like his style. You know, he was I won a lot of money in the Pyfer fight, even though that was in 2024. I think Hermansson is better than a lot of people think. I don't know if it's because there's a lot of new fans, but Jack's been at it for a long time. Grappling heavy. He has a high fight IQ. You don't see a lot of UFC fighters who execute game plans in the UFC, but Hermansson does. You could see it, you know, up before the Pyfer fight, people were expecting Hermansson to come out on the front foot, be really aggressive because he has a lot of volume historically. But against Pyfer, he kind of like let Pyfer lead the dance and use that energy and young aggression against him. And then Pyfer started fading, and then Hermansson turned it on. So I really like that about Hermansson, and I think that's why I'm taking him to beat RoboCop. Yeah, Zurdo's stoppage depends on what door. But I'm talking about like the narrative around if Zurdo is who they think his fans think he is, right? Do I have any locks? I mean, I'm doing the lock. So we're doing the lock episode at 11. Guys, in 4.5 hours, I'm doing another live stream with Muscles Brown. I have my locks. I'm going to go over on that live stream, and he's going to come with his locks. He's going to bring you guys his knockdown prop bets. He's been on fire lately with his over and unders. So that's my second live stream. I've already set the reminder. It's on my channel. We'll be doing that live stream with Muscles in about 4.5 hours. I'll be giving you my locks there. But I don't know why people are saying Holly Holm's getting upset. Probably because she's 43. Latino fans, they pick the guy even if they lose a lot. I don't know. What's your studies on that? Yeah, I don't know if Holly's going to lose. I'm just not betting on Holly Holm. So when I say I'm not betting on a fighter, that's not me saying they're going to lose. I'm just not betting on Holly Holm. I'm not betting on Jake Paul. There's a lot of these fights I'm not betting on. I'm not betting on John Pascal. Like, come on. There's some of these fights, but that's the beauty of our sport of boxing. I mean, it's insane, some of these matchups. You know, Raul Curel's fighting. Bro, Raleigh whooped Ryan ass 3 times, and they said Ryan. I know. Okay, hand history vault. One more time. Which fights do you think? Okay, so the distance fights. In terms of odds. I think the Mac... What's up, XL? I appreciate you. Salute from Pomona. Is that the Inland Empire? Can someone tell me what VPMs work well? DK similar to Cali. Pomona is in the house, hooking up the channel. I appreciate you. He's looking for some VPNs from California. If anybody has that, could you put them in the chat or put them on my group? Also, yeah, I used to live in Long Beach, man. Pomona. I know about the Pomona boys. I have a friend who lives there to this day. So I like to answer the question about outcomes, about will the fight go the distance to add a little bit of value. I like the Stephen Butler versus Macias fight to not go the distance. Butler's a knockout artist. He's been knocked out 5 times. All 5 of Butler's losses, 5 knockouts. He's fought Macias before in 2021. Huge favorite then. He got knocked out with a left hook. Macias, when he wins, he either knocks people out or he gets stopped too. This fight's in Canada on the Christian Mabilly card. So you can find value. Go to Stephen Butler Macias. Will the fight go the distance? No, $1.80. That's my favorite pick of the weekend, guys, which is insane. And I just found this 20 minutes ago on the live stream with you boys. So if you go to your sportsbook right now in terms of value and locks, I'm going to die on this hill. This is my lock, and I just found it. It's like a super obscure fight. It's a rematch in Canada. It's on the undercard of Christian Mbili. Go to their box recs right now. These guys, Stephen Butler versus Macias, look at the records. Look at the first fight. Look how they fight. Look at the odds. Not the money line odds, but will the fight go the distance? No. I'm getting $1.80. I love that bet. I love that bet. I don't, it's very rarely will I find a bet live on a live stream that I didn't know about going into the live stream. But I went to bed last night and my sports book didn't give me the method of victory options. I woke up and I have them. So that's one of them. The Stephen Butler fight. Will the fight go the distance? No. Here's one more. The Ricardo Brown fight versus Makhmudov. Will the fight go the distance? $1.24. No. So you put those two on a parlay. You put the Ricardo Brown fight to not go the distance, and you put the Stephen Butler fight to not go the distance. You're at almost 2-to-1 money, dude. Come on. And those, I think those are these fights are tailor-made for somebody to get stopped. Yeah, and John Pascal fought B-Hop in 2008. John Pascal fought Brian Norman in 2007. Brian Norman Jr.'s dad. I'm not betting on the Deontay Wilder fight either. There's no way. Everybody's betting on Deontay Wilder to get a stoppage. He's fighting a football player, Herndon. But I'm not betting on Deontay Wilder. Only because I've bet on him before, and with his style, he throws sometimes he'll throw 2 punches around. He throws 2 punches around sometimes, and the odds on him winning are $1.07. He should win. I'm not betting on him. There's no way. He's left. It's been well. He left Malik Scott. We know about what he's looked like as of late. I'm not going to sit here and have to wait for an 11th round knockout like he did against Luis Ortiz. He did. So I'm just not betting. I'm going to watch Deontay Wilder to this day. I'm going to watch Wilder. And if he gets a first round stoppage, bet on it. I'm not betting on it. But guys, I told you at the beginning of the stream, this is week 1 for me making these adjustments on how many fights I bet on. So with that in mind, I kind of have a penchant for getting wide-eyed when I'm looking at my betting options. I'm like, oh, we got 5 cards. We got this fight. We got this fight. We got all these. So this week, I'm like, no, I'm being more disciplined, and I'm staying away from that, staying away from that, staying away from that, staying away from that. There's a lot for me this weekend of fights that I'm staying away from. Jake Paul fight, Holly Holm fight, Deontay Wilder fight, John Pascal fight. I'm staying away from them. And, on paper, those odds are so wide and so crazy, but not for me. It's not the fights aren't. I don't see value for me to put my money on those fights. The Sean Pitters versus Bradley Ray fight. Yeah, Mark Braylon. He should have never left Mark Braylon. Sorry, Vega. I should have got to you on that point. Mark Braylon. We know about Braylon's pedigree, where he comes from, his career. He was part of that Olympic class. His fight IQ. Sometimes, guys, when you go, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a Deontay Wilder expert, but didn't he leave Braylon after the first Tyson Fury, after his first loss? And then wasn't Braylon the guy that that Wilder said that, put something in his water bottle? He was accusing his corner of sabotaging him. It was insane. Boston Mikey in the house. I just don't. Yeah, he left Braylon. I think so. It's insane when you go and you see these fighters. You see this happen so much. And I brought this up on a live stream last week, and this isn't supposed to sound controversial, but the difference with MMA fighters and boxers, think about this. When you see an MMA fighter lose at the highest level, it's very rare. It's very rare to see an MMA fighter act like a boxer acts when they lose for the first time. And I talked about this on a live stream late last week. And my opinion on this is because in MMA, a lot of these fighters come from traditional martial arts backgrounds, whether it's jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, Muay Thai, whatever it is, judo. You're getting a lot of young fighters who are in traditional martial arts belt systems. So with a belt system sport, you have a sensei. With the sensei, you have revelry, you have respect in and out of every training session. So you have kids, however old you start training. A lot of BJJ guys have been training since they were kids. In every single session, it's, sensei, that sort of thing. There's a lot of revelry. In boxing, we don't have a belt system. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but there's that revelry that is sort of absent subconsciously in the mind. There's a connection, a sort of loyalty to a sensei, because we don't have senseis in boxing, we have coaches. So to see, it kind of hits me in a weird way. It kind of hits me in a weird way when I see guys like Deontay Wilder or a lot of fighters lose a fight and they start blaming their camp, or they start blaming, and sometimes it's warranted. But when you catch him, when Mark Braeland's catching strays, that he sabotaged Deontay Wilder's water bottle, and Wilder says that publicly, it's insane to me. It's insane to me. It's not that they don't care that they lose. I think it's deeper than everybody cares that they lose, unless you open the door and then you're a gatekeeper sort of guy, and you're used sort of like as a litmus test for other. And we have that in boxing as well. But I think it comes down to that, and it hits me in a weird way when I see boxers throw their corner under the bus. Yeah, Glovegate. He still talks about that. Wilder gave an interview this week saying that Tyson Fury is the biggest cheat, and this is part of the reason why I'm not betting on him. It's not that, even if he's right, even if in a reality everything he said came to fruition, Fury's the biggest cheat. He's done everything. Let's pretend that's the reality. That fight was years ago, mate. There's a lack of accountability. There's a lack of accountability in Deontay Wilder's words. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I'm not going to sit here and watch that fight and wait for, he throws 2-3 punches around and wait for a knockout. To this day. Yeah, he said that just 2 days ago in an interview, claiming, the Mark Braeland incident didn't sit right with me. TJ in the house, boy, Boston, making acquaintances on the live stream. Guys, I'm going to stay on for about 13 minutes, and then to keep everyone up to date, to let you know the schedule today. It's 6:17 a.m. here Friday morning for me. I have clients at 7, 8, and 9, and 10. And then at 11 a.m., I'm going live with Muscle Brown to give you our lock prop bets. I don't know if you heard the rumor. He slept with his brother's girl, 2 of them. Oh, God. Dave, repeat that. Because now, ladies and gentlemen, we've entered the rumors section of the podcast. Repeat that. You're talking about... I don't know if I missed something. But are we talking about Wilder? So I'm going to cover the Shakan Pitters fight today, my next live stream. Scoffield beating Farmer or what? I've been back and forth. Landslide. I'm gonna give you. Let's take a couple minutes on that. I'm picking Farmer. I like Tevin Farmer. A lot of my reasoning has to come with Scoffield hasn't proved anything to me yet. Even though my worries are, obviously it's a 10-rounder. My worries are that Schofield's promoted by Golden Boy. This isn't the first time Farmer's fought Golden Boy fighters. Farmer's lost 3 fights. The Murataya fight was close. Both Zepeda fights are close. Do you think Zepeda beats Kid Austin? Do I think there'll be a knockdown Schofield? It's a tough one, guys. 10 rounds, fights fly by. So I'm taking Farmer. I got Farmer to win. I like what I've seen in this stage of his career. Gary, the wicked knowledgeable, should have followed your advice on the Mercado breakdown. I took Pizarro. Throwbacks. Mercado Pizarro. I stayed away from that fight. That was Tito's. That fight was in on one of those. Was it OTC card? Zepeda kills Austin. So if Zepeda kills Austin, Zepeda was supposed to stop. People were saying Zepeda was going to stop Farmer. But I picked Zepeda to win both fights. Those were close fights. Yeah, does it pay to beat Austin? I think he walks Austin. Yeah, I'm taking Farmer. I like Farmer. AB. Oh, dude, when Adrian Broner went on that tyrant against Elisa Bumgarner, it was hilarious. But he didn't say he didn't just say Robert Easter. Who was the other dude? Who was that other dude from Ohio that had a decent career and then he started getting stopped? And AB put his name on blast. This dude's trying to be he's like a coach now. It's hilarious. Floyd is busy. That wasn't Montana Love. It was somebody else. It was somebody else. He said Montana. In the way AB said, he was like, man, you even let so-and-so ran through you. It was like he just got, hit his boy with a random stray. And, watching that, I'm like, no, it wasn't Tony Harrison. Damn it. Sonny. It was Sonny. I think it was Sonny. He's like, you even let Sonny run through you. It's like, damn, even let Sonny. If I'm Sonny hearing that, I'm like, what's that? What are you trying to say? You even let Sonny run through you. He was a up and coming prospect. They thought he was gonna have, he had this upward trajectory, and then he started getting stopped, and then he hasn't had a fight in a while. I think it was Sonny. I forget his last name. He's an Ohio guy. He fought out of Toledo. Yeah, Broner's from Cincinnati, so that western part of the state. But now we're kind of sidetracking. But I think I like Tevin Farmer. I think he's a better boxer. I think he does everything better. I think Floyd Scoffield does a lot of things I don't like in the ring. I don't like Floyd. I talked about it on my breakdown and analysis. I just think that Schofield's at 22, not developed, which is fine. Doesn't know who he is as a boxer, which is fine. I don't like he switches stances for no reason. That's not fine. That's wasted movement. Tevin's quick. Tevin has more power than people give him credit. Tevin's been in there with everyone. Tevin's a former world champion. Tevin's been more active as of late. I don't think, I talked about that boss in my breakdown. Schofield got dropped in his last fight, I think in the 11th round. And the fight before that, he got buzzed. I'm not sold on Schofield. But it could be one of those instances where, like for me, as breaking these fights down, watching fighters, watching guys come up, and then, the last step is putting money on them. I'm not going to sit here and put money on Floyd Schofield to beat Tevin Farmer. How could I do that? I haven't seen it. So I haven't seen it. Granted, Farmer, he's lacking the big promotion. He loses a lot of close fights. He's still hungry. He's a former world champion, so it's not like he's this guy who's losing a lot of close fights. He's already been a world champion, so he knows what that tastes like. To me, watching him box this last part of his career, he looks as hungry as ever. I think he's going to be too much. I'm expecting a masterclass. I think he's going to put it on Schofield. I think he thinks he's not going to be able to get hurt. I think he's going to be able to counter him. I think he's going to be able to do everything he wants with Schofield. I don't think Schofield's a good boxer either in terms of boxing. I'm not saying he's not a good fighter. Different things. A fighter and a boxer. In boxing, I don't think Schofield's a good boxer. But JoJo, people talk about, so Farmer got stopped twice. His very first pro fight got stopped, and then in his 12th pro fight, he got stopped against, Jose Pedraza. Pedraza stopped him in his 12th pro fight, which is no shade. We know the guy who stopped him in his first pro fight, didn't really do much, but Pedraza went on to have a solid career. And then he lost to Jojo Diaz, which is a tough fight. I'm going to keep this going when we talk about who Schofield beat, he just hasn't shown it for me, man. I think a lot of the hype comes from, obviously, Golden Boy, Oscar, Auntie Sco. Guys, dude, Greg Hackett is one of my favorite follows on social media is Greg Hackett. I like Greg Hackett when Greg Hackett is clowning Schofield's dad. That's how we always talk on Instagram. So he calls him Auntie Sco. Seeing bag work, right? Dude, Tevin Farmer is a boxer. Tevin Farmer's world class. This is a step up, mate. And also, it left a bad taste in my mouth how everything that would happen with Shakur. All the trash they were talking with Shakur. And, the good old bag work. You think Farmer's going down as this generation's Gabriel Rosado, in my opinion. I saw Rosado doing an interview. He still brings up the Bekdamir fight. Beck the Bully. That's out of his own mouth, even though he lost the rematch. I guess that's it's career defining, that knockout. Yeah, y'all poisoned my son, Auntie Sco. Yeah, never won a belt. But yeah, Farmer's a world champion. Damn, you guys, we're talking about his Tourette's. Oh, wow. Gabe Rosado's a good. I like Gabe. Boxing's filled with characters like Gabe Rosado. Yeah, it's wild. He never became a world champion, did he? People disrespect Tevin Farmer so much, mate. Even just right now, he's a former world champion. He calls himself 2 times for a reason. People make fun of his stutter. They make fun of his eye, his gaze. But you can't make fun of his boxing. He's a great boxer. He seems like a great guy, too. Yeah, I got a lot. Tevin Farmer, he's a consummate professional. Always comes in shape. Vision. Guys, we're going to keep it going for a couple more minutes. We're floating between 30 and 60 people on the live. Just like this video. Stay tuned. We're going live again in 4 hours with Muscle Brown. We're talking about his knockdown prop bets, his over-unders. I got my prop bets locked and loaded. We covered some of them on this live stream. I'll leave it open the last few minutes. What do we want to end this live stream on? The next comment about whatever fight, we'll end it there because I got a couple more minutes. I'll leave it up to you guys. You thought Farmer would retire. He's hungry, man. You thought he'd retire after the Zepeda fight? He thought he won that fight. He's only 34, I think. He thought he beat Zepeda, and he's looked good since he moved up. That's the thing that's impressed me the most, guys, is when he went from 30 to 35 and how he fills out 35. Toxic gameplays. I got to be a man of my word. He brought up Jake Paul, and he did it on purpose. Do you think he beats... Dude, Chavez Jr., what are we talking about, guys? Chavez Jr., what are we talking about? Are we really talking about Chavez Jr.? Are we talking about practice? I mean, you're talking about practice. You think Scoffield knocks out Farmer realistically? I don't think so. No. I don't. I think I'll be impressed. I don't see it. I don't see Scoffield having the skills to knock out Farmer. Unless all of a sudden, unless Tevin Farmer got old overnight. It's something no one's talked about. I didn't even bring it up on my breakdown analysis video. I haven't seen really anybody mention it. Unless Tevin Farmer just aged overnight. And guys, this has happened before in the sport. It happens in our sport more than any other sport. Usually it happens after a long layoff. A guy has a long layoff, and then we see them and they're different, and we're like, oh shit, damn, he just aged overnight. I think if you're betting on Floyd Scoffield to knock Farmer out, that's the only way he does it, is if we watch this fight this weekend and all of a sudden Tevin aged overnight. And what I mean by that is loses the feet, gets slower, his speed and reflexes are gone. All that, I didn't see it. All of that was there against Zepeda. And he handled the pressure well. He did. This is a tough fight. I mean, Scoffield has more power. I don't know. I mean, how do we, he definitely doesn't, I mean, the thing, if you're talking about one punch power, I mean, Zepeda has more knockouts. And I don't like Schofield's timing either. Like, everything looks rushed. His work, Schofield, look, 22. If Auntie Sco, even though Auntie Sco banned me on all social medias, I can't even tag Schofield on anything because I found out Auntie Sco banned me because of a back and forth I had with Greg Hackett. But the thing about Schofield at 22, he rushes all of his work. He switches stances too much for me. When we're talking about he has more power, what are we talking about? Are we talking about one-punch power? I mean, I wouldn't really say that. Does he have better timing than Tevin Farmer? No. No? Yeah, he blocked me. The plot thickens. Dun, dun, dun. Floyd Schofield, he doesn't have timing. He throws a lot into his punches. He's aggressive, front foot. He's there to fight. That's what I mean. And timing trumps one punch power in my opinion. Timing is the thing that makes fighters world champions versus making them, just good. You have to have really great timing. Liam Paro, great timing. All right, guys, I got to go. Hour in. Like this video. Stay tuned to the channel. I'm uploading one more video this morning. It's my Friday morning, and I'm going live again at 11 a.m. my time, which is 4.5 hours. I already put that live stream on the page. So if you haven't already,